Hmm. 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 Here, I see you. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good. I can't hear you yet. You've got to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfectly.
Thank you.
So, happy Friday the 13th.
So it is, thank you.
Uh, the way this works is we talk. I saw you had done hypnosis before for something.
Some years ago, yes, it had to do, oh, actually I went for sessions. The hypnotist came out of, what's it called? And, natural, neurolinguist.
Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, yeah.
And I went to him for not quite a year, about once a month
Oh, good.
or so, and it was very helpful for a number of things. At the time, what? Oh, uh, there were things I wanted to change in my life, and it was very useful. And I had over the years used, seen many kinds of therapists, and in some ways, this was one of the most successful and effective.
Drinking.
Yeah, one of the things was I had started. Well, I drank. I wasn't a drunk. I wasn't an alcoholic. Well, probably I was by modern terms, but anyway, I stopped drinking for 7 years under what he did with me, and now I only drink one drink a week at the most socially.
So you're not that's good to know. Because before we get started, I want to ask you if you've tried something for nausea. Have you tried THC?
I'm very, no, I haven't. I'm very afraid of drugs. I have never, I have, the few times I have tried drugs, they have had a very bad effect on me.
Mhm.
And marijuana puts me into a state of high anxiety
Oh, then
and
we can take that off the table then.
paranoia.
Yeah, take it off the table then.
Yeah,
Um, However, recognizing I'm not a medical doctor,
right.
um, it's, you know, marijuana in small quantities, THC gummies, uh, is very useful in helping people with nausea. I worked for 3 years at Women Infants Hospital in oncology, and a lot of the patients there would use it to counteract the effect of chemotherapy. But on the other hand, you don't want to create a new problem by inducing anxiety.
Right.
So that off the table. What are they, if I could ask you this, what are you doing the antibiotics for? If that's
I,
relevant even.
yeah, I'm also recovering. The way they discovered the problem is through a fairly serious spine operation. I was going along with my life just normally, and well, the operation was on October 24th. So about a month or so before that, I started having back pains, and I've had back trouble all since my 30s. I went to a physical therapist and I would start to get better and then I would go back. So I didn't, I better cut this short. I, I was doing I was doing very light weights one day and I lay back on the bench to do bench presses and it felt like I had torn every muscle in my back.
Oh,
And after that, I couldn't get out of bed. And so after a week of they, I was sent to the emergency room. They couldn't figure it out. Finally, they did an hour and 20 minutes long MRI and they found these spots of infection in my spine. And they decided that they had to operate to find out what the hell this was. Unfortunately, when they operated, some of the abscesses were empty and dry, but they scraped them. But they did find active infection in my lumbar bone, one of my lumbar bones, and that's what I'm getting very heavy, the heaviest they've got of antibiotics, and I'm getting them for 8 weeks. I've got 1 week left, and the problem of eating has just gotten more and more difficult as time goes
and
on.
you've lost weight?
Oh, yes.
Oh. So it sounds like you really not need to stay on the antibiotics
For 1 more week,
for one
yes.
more week. So and I asked Dorothy if you had been doing Ensure or something, and she said you had tried that. Can you not tolerate that?
I have to do everything in tiny, tiny doses, like drink a sip of it, wait a while, drink a sip of it. It's like that with everything.
Or you
And
would get nausea?
that way I can keep it down and don't throw it back up. Because I do on occasion, I've gotten, serious nausea a couple of times where I've thrown the stuff up.
Hmm. And the anti-nausea medication doesn't seem to be doing the trick.
I'm taking Zofran. I don't know if that's the only one or not. Quite honestly, I have two of my one of my daughters and two of my granddaughters are nurses, and they've been handling all the medical things along with the doctors, and I've just been taking whatever they give me. And I'm not sure if there's another anti-nausea medicine in there.
There are Zofran's. No, there are others as well.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah, if it were me, I would ask my daughter, or maybe the most prominent of your nursing girls, if they could try something else as well.
I,
Uh, there are other ones that one doesn't. So that's not cutting it, but another one might.
right.
Uh, and see, that's the first place to look, I think, is a purely medical solution
Okay.
to the issue. Um, Anyway, so that be in the meantime, though, of course, we can do this, but I would urge you to contact the daughter or granddaughter who's most senior in
All
your
right.
medical team
Okay.
and see if they can find something else,
All
uh,
right.
at the very least. Uh, And we've taken THC off the table. That's got to be your choice if that has caused a problem in the past. Um, so now we're back to the mind and the mind body thing. And so the fact that you did well for that year and got really good results tells me you're a good candidate. Not everybody, roughly 80% of people are very good at doing hypnosis. 20% are outstanding, and 20% on the other end are very difficult. But you're obviously, at least in the middle, maybe you're really a good candidate. So have you got to the place where you're becoming, I use the word gun shy, where you're anticipating nausea?
Probably, yes.
Yeah. And when you do small bites or small sips, you have been able to hold things down.
I have been for the most part, yes.
But how many calories do you think you're getting a day? Are you like below 500 or something?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Now, the other thing is, to talk to the doctors about that. And I think it sounds like that your nursing family needs to get the doctor involved. Other alternatives is even if it were me, I would say, could I go off the antibiotics for a couple of days and go back on? Um, the medical, they need to know that you're in crisis, I think,
Okay.
about the nutrition.
Is
So,
that,
Go out for a couple days.
yes, ask Offset.
it's worth it. It's worth the doctor needs to be more involved, it sounds like, because there are other anti-nausea things. I know that for a fact.
Yes.
When one doesn't work, they can go to another one and see if that's going to be efficacious.
Unfortunately, the way the system works, at least here, once the surgery was over, the surgeons basically washed our hands of it,
I know.
trying to get in contact with any of the people in the infectious clinic or whatever it is very, very difficult and usually unsatisfactory. And so it goes back to my primary care
Right.
is,
Yeah.
is good.
That,
And we'll talk. And
that would be the one I would go to, given that I know what that's like. And after the surgeons cut people and then they disappear.
right.
Okay. So, and the things you've been able to eat are the crackers a little bit of the Ensure sips here and there.
Yes, I earlier I could eat eggs. Um, what else? Anything? Do you remember, Dorothy?
Soups,
Soups
peanut
were
butter,
easy.
cereal.
Um, a little bit of cereal, a little bit of peanut butter on crackers.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So when you say earlier, you mean in the first days you were on the antibiotics, you could
Well, then, like probably, yeah, the second, third, fourth week there.
third or fourth, how many weeks have you been on these? Since October?
Probably on a total of 8 weeks.
They changed your antibiotics too because you
And they
finally
also
couldn't-
changed my antibiotics 3 times because I was on the one I was breaking out in a rash, and so it went.
And did that come from the surgeon or from your primary
That was from
antibiotics?
the immunologist, the infectious,
Okay.
doing all that.
Okay.
Remember, you couldn't hold down anything.
Yeah, and
so they had to- you
I
couldn't hold the pills down.
yeah, they put me on one where I couldn't even hold the pills down. And then they finally found this one, which is, they said, one of the newest ones out there. It's called,
Have you thought about ask yourself the question?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. I wonder why the antibiotics are causing nausea.
I thought that was a fairly normal,
Yeah, that being said, though, why? What does it do that causes? It'd be nice to know the mechanism of that. Um, the digestive tract, it's almost like a second brain. It's filled with all kinds of neurons.
right.
One of the things about hypnosis and irritable bowel syndrome is a terrible problem people have. Hypnosis is as effective as the best medical treatment in terms of medicines. And that's partially because of the incredible, like people, common everyday language uh, made me sick to my stomach. I get nauseous just thinking about it. My stomach turned over when I thought, the common language. So there is that emotional component, which means you can also tell your tummy to calm down.
Yes,
You can just tell your stomach to stand down.
I absolutely believe in that.
Yeah, we're going to be okay.
I haven't been able to do it.
Well, the fact that you did so well when you did that year's work says to me that you can.
Mhm.
Are there any particular images that come to your mind? I've got my own, library, but what comes to your mind
When,
when you think about what, or maybe nothing is coming to mind. Some people have specific images that they want to drill into their brain, but it sounds like you're open.
is this like an image of my stomach in action
For,
or?
for, for example, yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh. Well, the only one I had wasn't helpful. It was what I was trying to do was picture my stomach as a kind of furnace in a train or a ship, and the food coming into it was the fuel
Okay, I got you.
that wasn't useful when in down the way you're talking about what
Yeah.
you're talking now at all.
If anything, that might have that's about absorption and processing. We don't do is counter nausea. So
Right.
I've got my own thoughts in mind about that. I am going to make a suggestion. Now, if you were going to eat, um, it might be useful to sit quietly for a moment or two and focus on calming yourself down and using a little bit of mental training before
Mhm.
you start. And
Mhm.
you do have the thing of eating slow, small bites. Obviously, that has to continue. You don't want to get the idea of gulping things down,
Yeah.
and you don't want to get the idea of going for a nice sirloin for a while.
Jesus, no.
No.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I guess
But go ahead.
you first.
To say, but I think I do every time I take a small bite or a small sip, I do fear that it's going to upset my stomach worse.
Yes, and that's one part we need to work on today. That becomes that there's almost like I use the phrase gun shy. It's almost like giving yourself a message to prepare for problems.
Right.
And so to counter that, just to quietly, for like, I'm not talking about long, like 60 seconds, to kind of prepare yourself to visualize ways it's going to be okay. Um, and I mentioned I worked with nausea with clients at Women's Hospital in oncology, and I know that you can do this. You can calm your stomach down. So I think I'm pretty much ready to begin if you are.
I am, yes.
Okay. And I'm going to send you two recordings. One is us talking before, and the other is the actual hypnosis session. And
Okay.
you should listen to the hypnosis, at least like 3, 4, 5 times to kind
Okay.
of drill this stuff into your head. Um, this protocol is partial.
Whew.
Hungry?
Thank you. Thank you.
I got myself hungry doing that.
Huh.
So peppermints, and then you stop the protocol and close your eyes, relax, release, be at peace. Picture the coding, and but really don't try to overdo it. You know,
No, I'll go bed hamburgers in the future. Hopefully not the too distant future.
Hopefully not. It's a pleasure. I looked at your Everett RI was a is a consulting firm for,
No, that's my wife's. It's a
oh, that's hers.
yes, that's a her and one of my sons, and actually a number of children are involved. It's a performance company, a dance company, and a school for young, mostly underprivileged kids that teaches them different, mainly performing art. Uh,
What a worthy thing to give the kids an outlet.
yeah.
I'm guessing you're retired at your point in
Oh,
life.
yes.
What kind of stuff did you do when you were working?
I taught at the School of Design for 40 years,
Oh my God.
and I also had, at different times, had I was a member of an art group that worked using uh, video when it first came out to make as an art form rather than a
Yeah.
dramatic form or a commercial form. And another time I had with a partner a very small film and video production company. We would
I
do.
had one of those. I mean, my background, I was a madman. I did TV commercials.
Oh,
And
wow.
I came to Rhode Island and I invented this thing called Hypnovision Video, the world's first subliminal hypnotic video program. And I quit advertising for a while and I didn't succeed financially. So I went
Yeah.
back into advertising. So I started an agency. But before the agency, I had a production studio called Corporate Image Productions. We were on 3/4 inch.
Yeah,
And
that was the big problem. Us too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was nothing like what you were doing. With me, it was like basically, corporate presentations.
Well, when the production company was that, we sales
What
stuff.
what what year? What years were you doing that?
Uh, the I would say was it from 1970 to 1980.
Okay, I my thing started in '83,
Uh,
so it was after you. I did that for a couple of years. It was a tough business,
oh
and
gosh.
and, and then I started an agency, my own agency, Catalyst,
Uh-huh.
which was a lot easier to make money because when you're doing production, you're chasing the next client. So
Right.
you work like a fiend, then you got nothing, then you go out chase again. And having clients was so much better. We had a stable income. Anyway, so listen to the recording a couple of times, like three, four, five times, and get some peppermints.
I will. Think.
And let me know how it goes, okay?
What?
Let me know how you do.
Okay, I will.
And
Certainly.
I got to ask you this question. Did you experience yourself salivating at all?
Yes,
Uh,
a little bit.
so you've got the visual sense, which is probably why you were so good at hypnosis the time you did it for the year. Some
Mhm.
people can't visualize, and some people are good at it.
Yeah,
So, financial part, credit card, I assume you're not
yeah,
going to send cash over the wires here.
I do. I have it right here.
I think I mentioned you, my office rate is 225, but I charge 155 over Zoom. So,
Okay,
it started during the pandemic when this couldn't work with anybody. But
yeah.
now I'm too lazy to go in.
I don't blame you.
You got a card?
Yes, I'm got it right here.
Take my pad. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, it's 41470979
Sure.
2644 1827
Yeah, expiration.
727
Those little numbers.
488.
And what is zip code that goes with that?
Oh, two, yeah. This is an 88-year-old's mine. 02906.
Yeah. I get a 76-year-old mind. And the weird thing is that I know I probably seem young to you.
Yes,
Young is 10 years younger than whatever we are,
yes,
you know?
definitely.
I can't believe when I refer to some kid who's 65. It's like,
Right, that's our children.
I
Our,
know, I know. Well, I would also really get one of the nurse kids or grandkids to talk to your doctor, see if they can adjust them. I know there are different anti-nausea meds,
okay.
and that could be a good solution. So, a pleasure getting to meet you.
Thank
And
you very much.
it,
You too.
it'll take a while for me to edit this, but I'll send the recording out to you. I add a little bit of music.
Okay.
It's funny, now I can do in my house what we used to have a expensive studio to do.
I know, isn't it amazing? It is
It's
amazing.
incredible. Incredible.
Yeah,
Over the years, I watched so many people, like people who were typesetters, who made their living out of setting type, something that it doesn't exist
I know.
because you can do it in your home computer.
Right.
Anyway, you be well and look for your thing tonight. I'll send it to you tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.